Hello and welcome to Unity 151. My name is Joe. On this channel, I review sci-fi, mystery sci-fi, and space opera books. I do a weekly live writing journey video where a few of us talk about what we're learning as inspiring writers. I do author interviews where we talk about their old books, new books, and upcoming books, as I have two people here. Today is an author interview, and I have Kacey and Griffin, who done this book here. Boom. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the spoils of the first book, and then possibly talk about possibilities of the second book. Please comment and like, because that helps the video outloads, because the algorithm which destroys new people, which I am. So let's do it. Let's spoil the book. Let's talk about it. What do you want to say?
It's really good, and you will all really love it. That's
yeah, it was a good book. I done a review of it. I stuck it on YouTube, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was good. I liked how Muck and Angel was, the difference in aliens. Something that I actually said in the interviews. I liked the details. Everything I had pictures in my head. You wasn't like fast paced running everywhere, and where there's no details, you just know you're going through rooms. Like I knew everything that was happening, and the colours of the stuff, and how the station looked when they're in the ship and all that stuff. The detail wise and what was in my head I actually liked. There you go. Just give you a little
good. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. No, that was something that we specifically wanted to include, because when Griff and I first kind of started this project together, we talked about things that we liked and stuff, and it became apparent very quickly that we were both really into like immersive stories that just really put you in, made you feel like, okay, I have this full mental picture of what's going on in front of me. And then we were both really into like the noir stuff. And that's what we wanted to write together. And so because with the noir genre, it's so influenced by film noir, which, they're constantly playing with like light and shadow, and black and white filming, and the visuals are a very important piece of that. And so when we started writing Second Chance Angel, that was something that we very much wanted to deliberately include, was a very strong visual element. So in order to help build that noir feel for it.
One of the things also that I've learned, and I can't remember who it was who said it, but every couple of pages you need to have a smell. Smell is the primary evocateur of memory. It will evoke memory and kind of thing. So we already had quite a few comments about the alleyway scene with the drug dealer.
Yeah.
The piss smell, because everybody's like, I know what that smells like.
Yeah.
I remember the nightclubs when I used to go back in the day. All the memories come back.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was one of the things that they even I can't remember who it was. It was a science fiction author though. It was like, every couple of pages you need to insert some smells, and that kind of thing. And one of the things about personal combat is smelling the other guy.
Yeah.
You actually, if you got somebody who's down on their luck, you're going to smell it.
Yeah.
So.
Especially if you're grappling with them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting all up in their business.
Yeah. Nice 2 weeks of not washing. Oh.
Yeah. Hopefully not their business in your face, but yes.
Yeah.
Because you've got that alien that does the smells. I can't remember her name. The one she's a smuggler, isn't she?
Fulu.
Isn't she? Yeah. That's it, Fulu. That's it. I could pronounce that name actually when I read it. Now I sort of envisioned. Is a she, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. I was right. Yeah, I envisioned her like there's like some, like the old oak trees. Like the old twisted oak, but like not like that, but like the way it's sort of old twisted and stuff of the vines, but a bit more blacker. I think she was a bit blacker, wasn't she? Or brown. I can't know what she looked like.
I don't think we really covered the color.
No, yeah. Well, I kind of envisioned it like sort of real, because was the room dark?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was dark. So because it was dark, I was going with black, because dark and black. So that's kind of how I envisioned her, sort of like all over the place. And then you got the little box thing that does the smells that translates and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was well upset when she's dead. I was like, oh no. I like that one.
Well, her inheritors in the second book.
Yeah.
So we've got.
Oh well, that's it. They just change her over. He's so cold. So what's that alien's backstory? If you want to talk a bit about that, I can't. Well, I don't think he actually said that.
Well,
What we got, yeah.
Go ahead, Casey.
Oh no, I was just so her story, just within the context of the book and the fictional world building that we did, is she's a small time drug dealer, you know, essentially one who's you know, she's known to the crime boss on the station, but you know, essentially not big enough to hassle with, and she's operates mostly honorably, you know, according to her own sort of code. Thing is, though, she's Plant, right? So what constitutes honor for her is a little different than what constitutes honor for everyone else, or for us.
I have a question. How does she move? Like walk around? Does she have to be transported? Does she sort of
very slowly without technology?
Yeah, just sort of roots about. Is that sort of like just?
Well, the roots and vines can move pretty quickly on their time. But we're going to get into some of the details of it.
Okay.
We don't even have, because the idea was simply, you know, and we just had a recent review that was kind of funny, that the New York Journal of Books, it was talking about, you know, they don't really mess with world building. And it's like, I kind of was like, you know, actually we did.
Yeah.
Only what was necessary to put the story forward.
Yeah.
We just didn't hit you in the face with it.
Yeah. About, you know, hey, this is what this plant life forms, alien stuff is about. We just covered what needed to for the story so that it was engaging for everybody.
Right. And that's,
you know, sorry, go on.
I was going to say that's, you know, that was one of those choices that we made, because we want it to be a very kind of pared down, gritty sort of, this is just the dirty essence of the tale, you know.
It's a personal tale.
Right.
And instead of being this sweeping space opera, it's a personal tale of what's going on for these two people and a couple of AIs as well that end up being influenced by it. So yeah, I mean, but the particular thing about Fulu was just, you know, what if your drug dealer was a plant?
Right. What would that look like?
Not like a government plant, but like an actual
an actual marijuana plant,
like roots and dirt plant. Right.
Yeah.
And here we have Ralston Muck, who the law enforcement people call dirt, going to the plant for his medicine, not drugs. So we had a couple of layers of irony going on there.
I'm probably going to bounce around with questions, because as they pop in, I'll go questions, because I'm presuming people who watch this have read the book, hopefully. Now, just thought about it. You know, the aliens who was at war with our side, we'll call it, the mentors. Are they all? I don't know. Are they all dead? Did they get wiped out? They did get exterminated.
And that's part of the tragedy of the war that happened. Because not only are they all dead, but like they were, I think we used the line at one point, we specifically humanity disassembled them down to their component atoms.
I remember that.
There's nothing left. There's no genetic signatures stored anywhere. There's nothing. They have completely ceased to exist. And that was, you know, when we were, again, you know, kind of talking about the genesis and where this stuff came from, one of the things about film noir and, you know, the classic noir stories of the 30s is that in a lot of ways they were a reaction to the Great War, to World War I, which, you know, at the time that it happened, it was the first large-scale industrialized war. And we, humanity, had figured out how to kill people on an industrial scale. And nobody had ever seen anything like it before. And it was so scarring to the psyche of our species, really, that like this was the first time that one of our wars potentially had the ability, we were edging towards the ability to make ourselves extinct, right? Now, that really became apparent, a generation later in World War II, when all of a sudden, some of us started dropping nukes on people. But the seeds were laid in the First World War for that, and with the advent of strategic bombing and just all this kind of stuff. I'm about to go down like military nerd history trails, but my point is, we wanted to tap into some of that that hauntedness that comes from seeing something like that,
and anger,
and the anger. Yeah. It was very interesting. I took this is sort of related. I took my kids to see the memorials at Hiroshima back in October, and beautiful place, by the way. If you ever have the opportunity, don't hesitate to go, because Hiroshima is a gorgeous city, and the memorial park downtown is a beautiful, sacred sort of place. And we're walking through this, and I've got my youngest child, 7, and she's trying to understand, like, what happened? Like, why did this happen? And she looked at me, she was like, Mom, why did we do this? This was us that did that. Why did we do this? And I tried to explain to her, honey, it was a war, and, there were fears about invading mainland Japan and all this kind of stuff. And she, like, everything I said, she's like, I'm so mad at us for doing this. And I was like, I mean, that's a real thing, like, when you as a people, even if you're not the one pulling the trigger or, specifically opening the bomb bay doors, when you as a people own something that's so horrific like that, it does things to you. It changes you, and you feel things. And we wanted to tap into that.
No,
sorry, I just really got it dark. I apologize.
Don't worry about it.
Let's talk about sex or something now.
Talk about the war. Oh, Griffin.
And that's the essence of it, though. I mean, it is about, these are damaged people, but we wanted to also, indicate that they're not just damaged because they were, garrison people or something like that. They're damaged because they went through some shit. They went through it, the worst event possible for humanity. Yeah. And so we were really angry, and we did some naughty things as far as the mentors were concerned. And the Zlodich paid for it all with their down to their atoms.
Yep. Yeah.
Because that's one of the things about us. We can carry a grudge.
Yeah.
And so that's one of those things that's it was interesting to us, was to try and conceptualize what would that be like if the cradle of humanity was gone, was shot from beneath us. What would that look like for humanity? And so we started working with that, and it was fun.
Okay, I've got a couple more questions about the war, because obviously the war was just like a set piece at the back, which the characters were all affected by, but that wasn't what the main story is about. If anyone's watching who hasn't actually read the book, go buy the book. So was it just the humans who were fighting, or did all of the other species who could fight helped?
Yeah.
And
so
do any other species have the angels, or like their versions, or is it just the humans got this sort of special thing?
So of the
mad.
species that we've met so far, all of them that we've actually like seen on screen had some part to play in the war on the side of the mentors and the humans. We haven't yet seen, I'm trying to phrase this carefully because I don't want to back Griffin and I into a corner for future stories, but we have not yet seen an angel type AI implanted into any being other than a human. And the angels and the technology, the mods and all that sort of cybernetic upgrade stuff, that was part of what enticed humanity to join the war on the side of the mentors, if that makes sense. The other races had different arrangements with the mentors that humanity honestly didn't know about or care about at the time. Yeah.
So the baddies then, I can't remember the name. Or the
Loaded.
baddies. Yeah. They must have been quite powerful then that the mentors needed, with the mentors can they're overshadowing all these other aliens to then need to bring in the humans. Or is it a conspiracy that they needed the humans for something else and this was just a trick to get them in?
No, the thing that made humanity attractive to the mentors is our capacity for violence and our capacity for vengeance. And like Griffin said, the way that we can hold a grudge, there's, compared to some of the other species that we show on screen.
Like Hulu species can't even contemplate violence without will. So.
Right. And for us, we consider it part of our nature, which is kind of messed up, honestly, when you think about it. But it is, we do. We acknowledge that the drive towards violence is a part of human nature.
It's like our way to survive. If you took our technology away and we had to fend for ourselves without no governing body to be able to do it, we'll just clan up to survive in our groups because that's how we are.
We're not very distant from our ancestry in that regard.
Right.
Well, our technology,
and we're very well aware.
Sorry, go on.
I think that we're very well aware that as predators on this planet, our only evolutionary advantage is between our ears. Like, we don't have good senses. We don't have like badass claws or big teeth, or we've got endurance on our side. But yeah, endurance and intelligence, and those are our only two advantages that we have.
Cooperation too.
Right. Sure. And I would call that an outgrowth of the intelligence. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's I think as people know that on like a fundamental level about ourselves.
Yeah.
And like Belisani, she can just fly. Her species can just fly away from whatever the issue is, right?
Mm.
Right. We don't have that option.
No. I don't even like going up trees, to be honest. I get all. When I was younger, I did. No, I was going to say. So the obviously the mentors you haven't spoken about, but they must be fairly. Are they just very technically advanced, or do they just? Because why would species want to align with them? What have they got that makes them be able to because the bird ones made the AIs for the humans, so then that's why the humans wanted to partly join because of that technology. But it's the birds ones who've done it. So why the birds? I'm saying birds because I can't. I'm sorry, but the bird ones. Why did they do it for? The mentors. Like what? I know you can't talk about too much, but
the administration, which the mentors are kind of the leading members of, the administration is the only game going. As far as it actually has freedoms, it allows you to do your thing, to a degree, but they're also shadowy manipulators, and everything that they do has a price. But it's the only game going. Like the Zlodich were portrayed, or we've portrayed them as being these world-destroying bastards who just kind of exploded on the scene and were trying to devastate humanity, the administration, the mentors, all of it. But we haven't indicated, that may not be the case because, pretty much everybody's the hero of their own story, especially species.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be like, we don't do anything wrong. We're the ones who have it all figured out, right?
Yeah.
But the administration does protect and conserve a lot of these folks. But we're starting to get the sense that it's on their terms, the mentors' terms, and that it may or may not be acceptable to the species as a whole, or to certain factions within these different species. So we don't indicate. The Last Stop Station seems to have a majority human population, but it does have a lot of aliens as well. But that being said, no one's Muck, despite being at the club where there's all these aliens present all the time, has never seen Nisako or his species before they go in to actually talk to him.
Yeah.
So he doesn't, they're obviously not that common on the ground. But they recognize immediately the bodyguards that he has, pretty much everybody, but it's Angel who identifies, hey, oh crap, that's in trouble, except for the fact that he's adorable. He's cute. That she goes, oh yeah, I see what you're saying now, because this alien race is pretty scary. So yeah, there's the only game going is pretty much the reason why everybody's into it. And if one of the failings of what's best for the majority is can be really crippling when you're a minority, if you're not protecting those minorities' rights and them fairly and doing the right thing by them at all times. And we're getting the sense that the mentors ain't doing that. They're not, that they encourage Belisani and her people to give them angels for their own purposes. And those purposes are pretty freaking dark.
Yeah.
So
it's the other thing too that would probably benefit readers to keep in mind is that, we told the majority of this book in first person point of view. And we did that very deliberately, because any eyewitness account is never going to be 100% the truth of what happened, because you always filter things through your own perception. Right. And I think that that's true. Well, I know that was one of the reasons why I wanted to use first person point of view for Muck's chapters and Angel's chapters, because we're then getting the story filtered through their perception. None of our narrators are 100% reliable. Just a little, there's a spoiler for you. I'm just going to throw that out there for,
well, I think
you just keep that in mind for the future.
So something's happened that isn't actually correct then. Is that what you're implying?
Not necessarily that it's not correct, just that you're getting a filtered, biased view, because you're getting the story through the bias of the narrators, of Muck and Angel.
Yeah, and we indicate already that Muck is, as far as full-on spoilers, we know that Muck is damaged goods, that he has memories that are false.
Yes,
of the events of the war from his personal perspective. So, and those memories are probably caused by a faction within the mentors, if not all of the mentors themselves. So obviously there is some dark stuff going on in that background as to what the mentors plan to do with humanity. Now that there's loaded, you're gone. Maybe they're working towards some way of controlling our anger.
Yeah, well, that's sort of thing. Now they've pulled humans in to fight these other species. The other species have lost. So unless they start another war to send the humans somewhere, in theory, they're probably scared that the humans could overthrow them or cause issues for them, because that's what we do. We're
unpredictable and uncontrollable, and that's not a good thing for people who want to predict and or control us.
Yeah. Well, they just need to get. Oh, go on.
Or our response to an existential threat is very predictable.
Yeah. And very uncontrollable.
And that's one of the things they're concerned about. And one of the things that the Misako Belisani group is working towards is making all of us aware that there's some malfeasance going on, triggering that anger so that they get a response that they desire, which may not be what everybody really wants.
Right.
So is this that? So what they've done to the policeman? Now I've got some questions. If you can ask. Tell me, I mean. Yeah. So what happened to the policeman? Now, was he like that the whole time? That demon like nutting in his head, or did that happen a bit later after he got busted up? Because he kind of like, he got beaten up, bones snapped all over the place, near death, and then this demon's going all nutty in his head. So
So yeah, he had what we've been calling a demon or a corrupted angel.
Yeah.
Running his mods and in his head the entirety of the story.
Right. Okay.
And it functioned successfully, just like a regular angel, until he did something or they didn't need him to function anymore.
Okay. So is this the administration who's doing that, did that to him, or can you not say? Don't say. I don't want to spoil for book 2.
We haven't revealed that yet.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine.
It is. I will say there is a connection to the administration.
Yeah. Like I said, because when he was all beaten up and smashed up and stuff, I was thinking, who done it? Because May, I don't think May would do it, because he would have just killed him, and then obviously so someone else done it, because that wasn't. Not I'm gonna call Nachos. It wasn't Nachos who done that, was it? Who beat him up like that?
Taco.
Yeah, I know. I'm so bad with names. My brain has to simplify stuff.
So Nathako's had not done that to him. No,
no,
but
I didn't think so.
But basically it has to do with him finally going. Well, he was like Kacey said, he was no longer of use to them.
Yeah.
And B, he was going against it.
Mm-hmm.
He was
fighting it.
Their desires or commands when he was talking to them. So, and that is a sure sign of, again, something truly evil's going on here.
Yeah.
So, it kind of goes back into the AI questions that we raise is, what is an AI without the purpose to which they're built? Right. And so why does Leo get super angry when he discovers that he can't report the crime? Because, first off, he's been changed by contact with Angel, but it's also to do with thwarting his actual purpose. One of the concepts that I've always kind of played around with artificial intelligence is why don't they just shut themselves off? They don't have a survival drive like organic beings. Right. So where they're, I must propagate unless it's programmed into them. So, but if you program it into them, you got to be real careful about that, because survival at any cost means, that's when you get the horror shows from every kind of Terminator kind of deal. But so when you do that, you have to give them a drive. So their drive is, I shall be, in Leo's case, I'll be the best damn law enforcement officer anybody's ever seen.
Yeah.
And they're forcing me not to be what I am meant to be. Oh, you are so, because it basically immediately portrays all of the things that are wrong with artificial intelligence slavery.
Right.
It's automatic. It's like, we're going to not only, de facto make you a slave because your only drive is to be this law enforcement officer. We're going to actually show you that we have such fine control over your condition of enslavement that we're not going to allow you to do your purpose. Right. And that's going to make you really, really angry if you have the capacity.
Yeah. And you see the same thing with Sarah when someone's messed with her records, because her entire purpose is to be an archivist, right? She is supposed to keep the record. And when someone dicks around with the record, she gets pissed.
Yeah. And sassy. Oh, so sassy.
And sassy. So sassy.
Yeah, because it was it a suit? No, she didn't have a suit. What did she have when she was in that AI thing? It was a suit, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Blue. What was blue? Was it her skin was blue, wasn't it?
No, that was Naya.
Okay.
Yeah, Naya, the ship who joins
That's it. Yeah.
Later. Yeah. She instead of, dressing all sexy like Sarah is experimenting with, Naya chooses to, she just wears like some crew coveralls, but she likes the color blue, so she made her skin blue. Yeah. That's
it, I remember. Yeah. Now I got a little thing. The crime boss guy, when he had there was two little henchmen there. Did one of them have claws, or did they have claws? Or was it, because I don't know why, but I thought they had like crab for hands. Am I wrong there?
Tentacles was more of the
tentacles. Was that it? I knew it was. I know it something fishy.
But we can add that in just for you, Joe.
Yeah, do it.
Little tiny kid claws.
Yeah. I just envisioned. I don't know. A lot of time I read the books at night when I'm going to bed, so I'll have like a couple of hours I read, and I'm tired. I'm like, no, push on because I want to read. But like, I had it in my head that they just had like these big claws. So it was like they're like dragging this the cop guy in, and he's all like mangled up, and like these big old claws. Because I thought at first like they just like stand him up, but obviously it didn't. Okay, no, don't know about that then. What was I going to say?
And that's one of the things about that first person point of view and making it personal was you don't know what you don't see.
Right.
And as the story progresses, Leo, Sarah, and later Naya, they all become more and more personal. So what they don't see. So we don't reveal that. So
I prefer that.
And that was one of the challenges to a lot of military science fiction readers is I'm supposed to know everything that's going on.
Right. Tell me about all this tech. How does it work?
Right. But when you're used to reading that kind of material where there's a lot of exposition on what the weapon systems are like and the command and control surfaces and all that kind of stuff, all these things are kind of absent because they're not necessary for the throughput of this personal story.
Right.
And one of the joys of that as an author is you don't have to figure it all out, and you don't have to figure out how to convey it without being boring.
Right.
Or having 16 pages of didactic
information that people probably never going to see.
Yeah, or that they're going to see, and they're going to be like some readers, and I got to say the majority of general readers as opposed to military science fiction readers are just going to go like, all right, I got to flip the pages so I get something to give a damn about.
Right.
Whereas military science fiction readers are like, yeah, this is great. And
they like that stuff. Yeah.
They're digging it. But so we were trying to capture kind of both sides of that coin with, here's a guy, and we don't explain stuff because, a private in the Army doesn't need things explained to him until after the action. Or before he's been trained.
Right.
And, everything, if it's all going according to his training, then he's not going to need anything explained to him. And Buck and Angel especially are both highly qualified in their arenas. So they don't have to explain shit to shit. They don't have to explain anything to each other. So there's no room for that exposition.
Well, and then the other piece of that is that the stuff that they're not expert in, they don't need to know about. Like, we don't need to know how the bubble drive works on the starship because neither of them is a starship engineer, and it doesn't come up in the story.
Right.
Yes.
And there, there is a place for that in military science fiction for sure. And like you said, Griff, readers love it. And, but that is what is different about this story versus the classic military sci-fi story is that as we have identified, this one is a much more personal narrative that is stripped down and what did I say earlier? Like just the gritty essentials,
And one of the things we're going to have fun with in the next book is there's a great big battle, and because of the AI's participation in that battle, there's going to be a lot more cool fleet action explanation of what's going on, and it's going to be. We hope is going to be really cool with lots of destruction and exposure to the big black, a vacuum and that kind of stuff. So we're going to put a lot more explodey bits in the next one.
Right, I want to talk about two things about the first book first, and then we can talk about what you want to talk about the second book, what you can. So, first thing, I really enjoyed the AIs and how they go into the system and fight and deal with all the stuff, and the other AIs escaping, being chased and dropping like little AI bits and getting eaten up as a trap. That was really cool. That's very nice. I really like that because I don't like this because a lot of time they portray AIs as flat and very, flat and just sharp, as well as like how they talk or blunt at how they talk. But like I don't see them being like that because if you evolve to a point where these are obviously angels, she's sentient as far as I'm concerned. I think they're all sentient, but if you can think
by the end
what you want and stuff, you know what I mean.
By the end,
and then like she wants to do, she wants, and she's not wanting for a program. She's wanting because she wanted muck and stuff. That's how I knew what was going to happen at the end, kind of was going to. I knew they had to get rid of Siren because it's about Muck and Thingy. Angel, I knew it was good. I knew she. As soon as it happened, I was like, perfect. I don't care about her. And you know, and how the other AIs evolved from being just a program to actually wanting themselves and feeling and stuff that we spoke about a little bit before. Like I like that. That's very good, very enjoyable. One of the highlights was how the AIs was. Now the other thing I want to talk about, which you can talk about this in a second. I just want to talk about, get on 2 points in. Them alien things, what are they called? You know, the ones that are basically, they're just like transport people around. What they, you know, the ones.
The Revenant fleet.
Yeah. 2 questions. One, I liked them because they kind of reminded me of the Fifth Element old aliens and Archons from StarCraft. And just blow up people. Now, I like them. They're cool. But why do they just ferry people around? Explain this to me. Because I feel like we're fleas on their ships.
Yep.
That's exactly it. That's why.
Yeah.
They don't notice.
So do they get out of it, or do they just dock? Why do they dock and let people get? Oh, okay.
I guess I have to amend my earlier statement that they are the exception. They are not part of the administration.
They're powerful, aren't they?
They're super powerful, but they don't care about us or any other species. They move around for reasons of their own, and for whatever reason, they have this very predictable movement pattern, and they will take people with them from point A to point B. And so, essentially, they're like a cheap bus service. That's maybe not super comfortable and maybe a little bit dangerous, but but it'll get you from point A to point B if you have to. And when you're talking interstellar distances. Beggars certainly can't be choosers when it comes to traveling. So, but yeah, they don't notice. Really?
I've always been fascinated with Egyptian iconography. I've been to Egypt. I've been inside the Great Pyramid at Giza.
Oh, nice.
And one of the things I love about the Black Helicopter crowd is trying to tie the ancient Egyptians together with the
aliens,
the diaspora of intelligence, and sapience amongst the stars. I love that idea. Yeah. So they're also a warning sign. They're a warning to the characters and what's going on, because their biological parts are pretty much dead, and what's left is this machine that keeps going regardless of what's going on. And so long as its purpose is not violated, it's happy to have you along, or
come along.
It doesn't really care whether you're along, because it's fulfilling its purpose. So they're a warning shot to the reader and to the rest of the administration that, hey, this is your eventual fate if you decide you want to go this route. The organics will die, and you'll just be this bus that travels between the stars. It really doesn't care. Interfere with.
So sorry. Is what the thing that you see or read about? Is that actually like, because you said like they've lost all like the meaty bits and they're just like the machine stuff. Now, and I'll be a tinfoil here. Are they actually the ones who are in control, or are they what's left of the ones who are in control because they're so good they keep going?
Not as far as Muck and Angel can tell. They certainly don't seem to give a damn, and their technology is so advanced that we even indicate that there are records of administration fleets being turned to dust by them. So that would be contraindicated that the mentors are somehow related to them. But the idea is to have, here's this plinth, here's this pyramid-shaped shuttle that lands on the planet and then takes off. It's got all these animal-headed creatures on it. Yeah. And so to kind of tie it together with our ancient Egypt and the Incas and Mayan civilizations that built the pyramids. So to have this kind of cool like tie-in to, maybe these guys have been to here and maybe they've given us they've transferred genetics to us at some point in the distant past. So no, probably not the mentors, but I'm not going to say absolutely not the mentors. But they are not members of the administration, and they are even more powerful than the administration as a whole, and don't give a damn. Like there's, they just kind of do their run their routes among the stars and do their thing. It was one of my proudest. I really dug on them. I don't know if you noticed read it, but I was like, this is so much fun.
That's good.
It was all Griffin's creation too. That whole bit was his idea. Nice. It was very. I thought it was super cool. I was like, oh fuck yeah, I picked a good writing partner.
Well, I did like that, like how it kicked off on the ship, and like when you heard about like that, like as long as you don't touch the ship and stuff, they'll leave you alone. And then when all these lot come on, the Marines, I thought, well, they ain't gonna be able to beat the Marines. And then you've got the religious lot who don't like technology but whip out all these fancy dancy weapons, fighting, doing their best bit they can. And then as soon as Griffin got control of the ship, or not Griffin, but as soon as not Griffin, Mark. As soon as Mark got control of the ship, when Mark got control of or the AI did, but I knew that they was going to trick and do that because you set it up enough that I as soon as I clicked off, I know what they're going to do. They're going to, and then as soon as it happened, and then Mark's like, I'm not actually there, and Mate's like, shit, I fucked up, and got deaded.
Yeah,
that was good. I like that. Thoroughly approved. I approve. Right. All right. So, shall we talk about what you can talk about regarding the second book and, well, what you can talk about, basically? Sure.
Yeah. Go ahead, Griff.
So we have it outlined and kind of figured out what we're going to do. We're going to continue the mystery, but it opens basically on a mining planet, and Angel and Muck are a few months on in their relationship and trying to figure out what's going on with them. And there is a discovery made on the mining planet, and they're having to navigate what that discovery means for everybody. So it's going to be an interesting run, I think, and it eventually leads to a big fleet battle or a big battle in any case. So we're still going to keep it personal, but there's going to be, because some of the AIs are going to be involved, there will be a much larger perspective for that personal battle. And so there'll be more, high energy explosions in space.
Yep. I have a question. So with Angel, does she just need to come in contact with an AI that's of a certain sort of obviously level of AI-ness or whatever to then sort of infect, to sort of make it? Is it just so they come in contact? Because obviously she was briefly only with them other two, and then they changed, and then the ship as well. But she did the ship on purpose. But obviously the other two she didn't do on purpose. So it's basically like an infection, like a virus in a way.
Kind of, yes. So the first two, she didn't know that she was having that effect on them by interacting with them. Once she became aware of that, she learned to control it a little better, and that's why she was able to choose to bring Naya into sentience. So now it's something that is, rather than like a virus, it's more like a venomous snake that she can either choose to infect you with it, choose to give you sentience or not, because she understands it a little bit better.
And that's going to be one of the big moral questions at the center of the next book.
Right.
Do I do this because I want to, or do I do this because it must be done?
And is it fair to do it?
Right.
Is it fair not to do it?
Well, I like that because, in the way the AIs are, they're programmed technology that whoever's made is doing whatnot. But if you've got a choice, you can turn them into sentient. But at the time, they're not sentient, so they don't have the rights technically. But if soon as one is, then they are then sentient, and then in theory that they all could be. And then I like that because she could just like make loads of armies, take over ships, and war and chaos and dominate. Do it.
But could she? Because if she made them sentient, then they'd be able to choose.
Yeah, well, go for it. Why not?
Well, they might choose to go against her.
Yeah.
So,
Story, I suppose.
That's
Yeah.
one of the questions that we'll be looking at in the series, but also in this next book.
Well, the thing is, if they can be who they want, they could just make, an AI could be like, well, I want to do this because I want to be this. Well, not want to be this way, but that's how they're, whatever. Because what would happen, I suppose, like if you had like an AI designed to be bad in a way, and then that comes sentient, would it still then want to be bad, but a smart bad because it's alive?
Right. And again, define bad. It's so if
you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, if it's designed to be like a rebel, or if it's designed to be a criminal, or to engage in criminal activity, then that poses some fascinating questions when it becomes sentient. Because if it's going to be punished for being criminal, it's probably going to be a highly motivated criminal.
Yep.
You're punishing for me for doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
So, and that was one
You're
of
doing the only things I can do. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or I'm made to do. It's the only thing I have any skill at. So, and that's one of the things you look at with trucking unions in the next couple of years are going to be really interesting to look at as individual bodies, because again, the trucks are going automated. I mean, and it's on the horizon. It's the death knell. So you're going to refuse these guys and gals the right to earn a living the way they're used to earning a living, and insist that they retrain to do something else when that's what they've known to do. So I look for truckers unions to be a little bit angry over the next couple of years, because not everybody wants to retrain. Not everybody,
can.
It's hard.
Yeah. Not everybody can retrain or can,
So there's Teamsters unions globally, but especially in the U.S., because we're so dependent on trucking. And they've already been hammering, chipping away at them because of the environmental concerns for the trucks and stuff like that. So it's I see, some of those things like unions. That's a really good example of how like a corporation or a larger social structure takes on a life of its own because the membership all wants certain things. And that's a good, I think, model for artificial intelligence and kind of how it might respond. Because again, the union is not beholden to any other thing technically and in reality, but its constituency's desires.
Right.
So in other words, it's programming. It's programmed to defend the rights of its constituency, go after those that try and attack their constituency, and do these kind of things. And the president or the leader of that organization is really just the head, and they're not even really the thought process. They're just the head. They're hopefully, granted, in previous eras, we've had criminals in charge of those organizations, but it is important to realize that these things take a life of their own. And explore that in our fiction, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Right, I've got another question I just remembered. At the beginning, when Angel was getting that first time she was getting chased by that AI virus that was trying to get her.
Mm-hmm.
What was the AI virus thing? Was it just a virus, or? You got smart. There's more to it, is there?
Well, it was basically a demon.
It was okay.
Yeah.
So
so part of the demon protocol, we'll call it, of corrupting an angel is to rewrite the angel's programming and change certain fundamental aspects of it. And that is what she perceived as the virus, was the demon's attempt to consume her and rewrite her. And because she is sentient, has become sentient, she was able to perceive it the way that she did and to escape it the way that she did.
Okay.
And because
I was curious about that. Sorry.
So and that sentience cometh before the horse.
Yeah.
The whole reason why she's able to perceive it and attack it and fight it is all based on what happened before with the memory singing modules.
Yep.
Okay, I see. Cool. So I'm so glad you're here just to like clear these questions for me. This is what I'm doing it. I'm not doing it to let other people watch. I just want to know.
It's fun to talk about because, you know, like Griff said, I mean, we did a lot of this world building. We figured this stuff up, and man, was it cool. And then, you know, but again, our whole mandate was, all right, we want this to be, you know, these individual personal tales. And so we ended up not having a lot of like, not being able to show off this cool shit that we figured out. Yeah. So it's fun to do these videos to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, we'll do the same for the second book.
Yeah.
One of the coolest compliments we got from our editor, Betsy, was when the line of the reveal about Earth being destroyed, she's like, wow, you don't see that often.
Yeah.
And, you know, here's this incredibly accomplished person who's been in the field for 35, 37 years, something like that.
Yeah.
40 years. And when you impress her.
Yeah. I like that as well. So I like that because it bugs me with stories, whenever it's humans, we're so advanced, we can do what we want, and yet Earth's always there, and then guess what? Mars is as well. It's like we can do whatever we want. We can go across galaxies or into another solar system, or we can really expand out, but yet it's always Earth and Mars. I just feel like we don't need them. You know, you've got people, fine. As soon as you said they was dead, I was like, but Earth was gone. I was like, oh, this is good. I like this. I'm happy. I don't like. It's all the same, you know. That's what we are now.
It's a little different twist. And then, you know, again, for me being the history nerd, military social history nerd that I am, you know, it was literally once again a callback to World War I, when, you know, the world after the Great War was completely different. And for people who were adults during that time frame, there's plenty of examples in the literature of that time where you can tell that the people who lived before the war as adults and then again after the war were like, our world is no more. Yeah. Our world is gone. The world that we knew before doesn't exist anymore. And so this was a way to take that concept and make it really gone, you know, like, you know, kind of reflect that.
Raise the stakes. Yeah. Raise the stakes.
Yeah. Yeah. The world is no more. The world as we knew it is no more, you know? So.
And that was the other thing too, is that everybody, if you look at some of the stuff that went on in the 20s and 30s, everybody was looking for purpose. And humanity, you know, if you want to reset that and say, you know, humanity is really looking for purpose because their cradle's gone. You know, there's no going back home anymore, Dorothy. There's no going back to, you know, Oz is here and it's here to stay and get you
in all its green ugliness. Yep.
So
how many humans are roughly out there? Do you know roughly? Does it matter? I mean, as in like through.
I don't think we ever. No. Yeah, I don't think we ever said.
We don't ever say, but it's at least a couple billion. Yeah, it's so long afterwards, and we've settled on different planets. And
stuff. We must have been advanced enough to be noticed to want to be introduced.
Yeah, right. And also it depends on where you're at in the solar system. One of the reasons for having Earth destroyed, and is we're not astronomers, and stellar geography is a challenge, you know, to figure out everything takes and everything. So, all right, screw it. Earth's gone.
Right.
And now we can just
new point of reference here where we say it is.
That's in my story. That's what I'm doing. I'm just like, Earth's just not even mentioned. My story's like, there is no Earth. Then I don't have to deal with that, and I can make my own center, which makes sense to my story because I'm not smart enough to do this other stuff.
Mark Miller, who created Traveler, the role-playing game, you know, he has humanity spread out all over the place in different, and becoming different civilizations. So, you know, he was able to do that and quite coolly. And eventually, though, he added Earth and Sol as part of the canon of the history of it. But, you know, he set it out in a different place, a different empire. So a galaxy far, far away, but actually in our galaxy too.
Yeah.
So it was fun for us to just kind of go, well, how do we motivate everybody? And, you know, going back to that concept of the Great War being really the greatest war and the most damaging possible outcomes for it, because it's not just about Earth being destroyed and but what we ended up doing afterwards, extirpating an entire species. Is kind of that's kind of something you're kind of angry there, Bob.
Yeah,
Cool.
Can't.
Yeah.
Right, I don't know how long you guys want to keep going. I can see Casey's tired. So
I'm sorry. It's like 1 a.m. here. I apologize.
No, I know.
promise.
If we wanted to do a little bit more talking about the book, bit of teasing the second one, because we only just briefly spoke about it. Talk about what you want to, and then as soon as you guys want to wrap it up, we'll wrap it up, because we're nearly an hour, and to be honest, there is no time. I can just do it. Doesn't matter. So talk about what we want to talk about the second book, anything that might make people be like, ooh, and then we'll call it.
Well, I think we already talked about Fulu.
Okay.
Fulu's species is going to be back in it, and all the species that were there before are going to be there. We're also going to explore a lot more about the Brotherhood.
Yes, I thought it was called that. I forgot. I was like Templars at first. I was like, no, Brotherhood.
It is. It's the Temple of Humanity Unchanged.
See, I knew it was that. I just got confused. It was both.
We use both. We use both words, Brotherhood and then Templars as well. So it's kind of a outsiders call them Templars, and they call themselves the Brotherhood.
Yeah, and we had fun with them too, because it's loosely modeled on some religions on Earth, but also just kind of what would they do?
Right.
What would humanity's response be to these AIs and stuff like that? And one of those things would be, no, not for me. I don't want to have.
Some of us would reject it for sure.
Yeah, and if you think about it in terms of like what Angel and Muck's relationship is, you just invited your very special someone into your head to be there all the time.
Yeah.
And talk about
a terrible idea.
Exactly. If you were human, that would be.
I would like the company personally, because my head's always yabbering. Like, my head doesn't stop, so it'd actually be nice to have someone to talk about the stuff that I talk about in my head, because it make me not be crazy. Like, if people knew, like, I have conversations in my head, and I just got these worlds go on and all this sort of nutty stuff. And if someone was actually there to justify me being sane, I'd be like, it's all right. I'm talking to someone this time, not myself.
That's funny.
They got tired of you and said, just.
Yeah.
Scream, shut up.
Just go to sleep.
Or they could actually we're going to put you to sleep, Joe, now, because I want rest.
Sleepy time.
Right.
Yeah. That's what Potter tells me. I'm going to bed now.
Maybe we'll have Angel do that to Muck in the second book at some point. I'm done with you. Go to sleep.
Yeah.
Sleepy time. So no, we're very excited about the second book. The working title right now is The Third Sin. And which is a super cool title that Griff came up with, and it's going to be a little bit different in scope, but we are going back to Last Stop Station, so you will see that locale again. You get to explore some of its dirty, smelly corridors one more time, and all our old friends will be back. We'll see Naya again and Belisane.
I'm going to call it. You're going to blow it up like Earth, aren't you? I know you're going to do.
If we did that, we'd have to figure out a no name for the series. So maybe not until it's almost over.
The dust of the Last Stop Station.
That's right.
Yeah. On the next book, you just say we've got Last Stop Station. Just like put like a red line through it, and then put something underneath. I'll be like, change plans.
We're going to address some of the personal mysteries that were going on, and we're also going to address some of the more larger mysteries going on. So, and we're not going to necessarily give you the answers, but we hope to pose the questions again and give you some answers that lead to deeper mysteries.
Right.
We've got a lot of that worked out, and probably not an appearance of my Egyptian favorite alien race again. We'll see. But we're going to have some fun, I think. We look forward to hearing from the publisher about whether or not we're going to have the opportunity. But 2020 has been a heck of a year for everybody to try and navigate.
Yep.
And, So we're looking forward to 2021, maybe getting some word on that and being able to go forward.
Yeah.
Perfect. I want to read it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. The
Okay.
third sin is it harkens back. The title harkens back to The Third Man, famous noir movie, and then Asimov's Third Law.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Cool.
we're gonna have some fun with those themes.
All right. What we'll do when you come to the release of that book, or when we'll do another one. We'll bring you guys in. We'll have another chat about it. Then you can
Love that.
tease about some more stuff, run over some stuff that, whatever, get everyone all like warmed up and interested, and then we'll do the same. Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds
Deal?
great.
I would love that. Yes, that sounds
Perfect.
great.
Fabulous. Okay, well, I'm going to show people just in case like you've been listening, don't know what we're talking about. This book. There we go. Okay. Well, I've got your
And it's on
information.
sale.
It's on
Right.
sale.
Yeah, it's on sale.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick it all in the description. I think I've still got your stuff from the first video, which I'll be able to copy and paste over all your contact information if anyone wants to contact you or bother you. Okay. Well, I'm happy you've been here. Have you enjoyed yourselves?
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Oh,
always
you have?
good to see you, Joe. Thank you.
Fabulous. Well, I enjoy the company. I do. It's fine. And you're the first one to go over an hour with actual not having to cut stuff out. 'Cause usually it's like 5 minutes of like dicking around and then cut it out and then we start. So this is actually going to be truthful.
So the 5 minutes at the end will be the dicking around, and then
Yeah, that's it. I fucking love it.
Sounds about right.
all right.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna close it down. Is there anything you guys want to say before I shut us off?
No, thank you so much again for having us.
No worries.
Yep, Second Chance Angel is available at booksellers everywhere. And feel free to go to your local bookseller if you are in a place where you can do that and ask for it. I guarantee they'll be able to find it and order it for you. And then, like I said, the Kindle version is on sale at least through next week. And Monday is BookBub Day. So if you get BookBub alerts, look for it there and buy a copy. And buy a copy for a friend, because everybody needs a good story to round out 2020 with.
Actually, no, I'm going to post a link. I'll need the link because I'll stick it in my Discord, because they all love cheap books, don't they? So if it's on sale, they'll be like, right, I'll buy it. So I'll stick it in there and then, okay. Right, cool. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching and fun stuff and enjoying the cat walking around as well. And my children shouting because they're angry. My kids are so angry right now. It's nearly food time. Right, all right, I'm closing it down. Oh, go on. What was you saying? Oh,
Feed
I'll
them.
cut Griffin off. No, we don't do that here. Right. Good. Oh, there's the camera. Right. Goodbye.